Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Women's Fitness Academy podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ellen, and I am a binge and body image coach. Today, I am here with the amazing Tayla Bubeck. I think that's right.
That's it.
And she is a business mindset and trauma coach. And I'm so excited to talk to you because I feel like I've followed you for so long now. And I kind of saw when I first started following you, you were in the same industry as me. You were a fitness coach. And I was like, oh yeah, she really knows what she's talking about. I like her posts. She's really energetic and like me, and she seems really fun. So I started following you for that. And then you kind of developed into intuitive eating, and then now you're business coaching and inner child work. I've seen a lot of posts. So tell me about what got you into being a coach from the start.
Yeah, beautiful question, and thank you so much for the intro. And I love it. I love that you're like, oh, your personality. I love that. Honestly, people who are like my OG followers, I love you guys for being there through all my ups and downs. So yeah, I started my Instagram account. It was either 2013 or 2014, I forget. And honestly, I just started it to document my own journey. I had my own weight loss journey, as you probably know of. I lost around about 38 kilos, and I did it in a very unhealthy way. And then when I started my account, I was very into, Fitspo and nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, and all of that stuff, which I look back now and just feel so sad. But I was into all that kind of stuff. And then I really came into myself and find macros and flexible dieting. And that changed the game for me. So I did that for years and years and years and years. I've only actually just given up tracking last year, which is crazy. Yeah. But I have suffered through eating disorders myself, binge eating, bulimia, anorexia, body dysmorphia. So it has been a wild ride. And over the time, I started doing coaching for free. I don't even remember. My timelines are very blurry. So if I get something wrong, it's just all a blur. But it's been so long now. I guess I was one of the many people who kind of lost weight and kept it off. And I found that was really rare. And I was like, there's got to be something. Why me? Do you know what I mean? Why have I managed to keep this off when most people don't? And I guess that just got me really curious to look into myself and my own mindset. I started looking into eating disorders and flexible dieting and all the things. And I guess my friends and family started asking me oh my God, what are you doing? Can you help me? I need to be more disciplined, blah, blah, blah. And I guess that's where my coaching started, with just helping friends and family for free. And then I just started helping people online for free because I had such a loyal following. I built up a very, very, very loyal community, and I still do have that today. And I just started helping people for free because I was like, this is fucking awesome. Sorry, can I swear?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I was like, this is awesome. I get to help people, and I was getting a need met, and I'm like, people want me, people think I'm cool. And my whole life, I was like, no one likes me for anything but my personality. So for me, it was this greedy thing of oh my God, I get to help people. They like me. They want me. What the heck? Yeah. So I started helping people for free. And then from there, I just started after a couple of years of free work, I started charging $10. My God. And I was like, can I just I'm going to start charging. I hope that's okay, kind of thing. And I started charging, and it was just more so helping people understand macros and nutrition, because obviously I went through it in a very unhealthy way. So I was really passionate about teaching the flexible side of dieting and, exercise and things like that. So I just started there helping people with that. After working with a few hundred, I had a lot of people that I was helping because I don't know, very loyal following, and I loved it. I was helping a lot of people, and I figured out it was never the food and it was never the exercise of what they were actually struggling with. So I started to get really curious around that. And when I have this archetype where it's the rescuer and like savior. So I will try to help everyone else and abandon myself. So then my eating disorders started coming back because I was neglecting myself so much and focusing all on my clients. I went through a really bad breakup, not bad, like it was mutual ending, but like it was really hard on me, where I think that's where I first started doing my mindset work on myself, to really like look into that. And I think like it just kind of went from there. I realized it was not about the food. It was not about my body. My issues were deep down, and they were a lot deeper. And I started recognizing that pattern with clients. So as I was helping myself, I was then helping clients with it, and, you know, helping them with their relationships and helping them with their boundaries and helping them with body image and like just things below the surface that had nothing to do with their food. So I guess that's kind of where I started to get into the mindset side of things. And then I had a program called Ignite, which was like my one-to-one coaching, which was health and mindset. But it wasn't like, I wasn't checking macros or like, honestly, I was getting amazing results strictly with dealing with mindset. Like literally that's all I did. I didn't do training programs, didn't do macros or nutrition. I gave them guidance on that, but I didn't actually like, you know, do that for them and like, you know, check my fitness pal or anything like that. Like I just had a very unique approach. And I feel like just my humanness and the willingness to see deeper than someone's surface level problem is like honestly my biggest gift. And like it just kind of snowballed. Then I started looking into trauma, did my eating disorder qualifications, I'm like coming to the end of a 6-month trauma qualification. I've studied under psychotherapists, just like lots and lots of things that I've been doing over the past couple of years, shadow work, inner child work, ego work, all these things. And it was just never about the food. So then what I realized was I actually really have a knack for business coaching, and I was really good at, I built my own business and built really strong community brand. I'm really good at content, like just talking myself up here. But like, you know, I feel like I have a very unique approach. And I was like, some of my clients were like, now I want to start doing this, you know, and it was kind of cool because it was my journey of where I got help. And then after I got help, I wanted to help more people. And that's exactly what my clients were going through. So then I started slowly doing business coaching just on the side as like a little hobby. And I was like, this is fun. This is like, you know, whatever, I'll dabble. And then, yeah, now I'm like more so in business. I still do personal trauma coaching for like binge eating or relationships or just general life. I definitely still help with personal coaching, but I'm probably 70% business now, 30% personal. My courses are probably split like 50 business, 50 personal. But yeah, I just feel like every human I help, it doesn't matter if I'm helping them with business or if I'm helping them with intimacy or binge eating, like whatever it is, every human, it comes down to the exact same thing. So I just feel like whether it's, like anything that I'm helping people with, it's always the core underlying issues so like even business, you know, people can't show up online. People are so attached to sales, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing as people being so attached to their dieting and their bodies and controlling that. So yeah, I just really like human behavior and like psychology. That's my thing. So that, I don't even know if that answered your question, to be honest. I could just talk forever.
No, I love that. And I think it's been nice to see that there are a lot of coaches who kind of started off when we started, who are kind of moving a little bit away from the macro tracking, kind of strict MyFitnessPal stuff. Because as you said, like when you've been coaching someone for a while, like after a while, you don't really check the MyFitnessPal interest anymore. You don't really check the macros, or it's all about, oh, this happened and this really triggered me, so I ate lots of food, or I feel like this today because I ate like this yesterday. And it's more about like how changing, like you said, how you feel about yourself and not so much with what you're eating, because most people know what healthy/unhealthy food is. Like
exactly, there's like, that's what I always used to say was like, there's a reason people can't do it, and there's a reason that everyone, it's same with business, everyone knows the steps to create a successful business. There is a reason people can't do it. And with food, that's exactly right. People would come to me and be like, oh, I didn't hit my macros today, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but what are you making that mean about yourself? How are you internalizing that And that right there is the problem. It's not the fact that you didn't hit your macros. I actually don't give a fuck that you didn't hit your macros. Like,
it doesn't matter at the end of the week anyway.
Yeah, literally. And, you know, I think that was the biggest part of my work, was having compassion for humans, that humans are going to fuck up and make mistakes. And I think that's the biggest difference in this, especially when you are working with someone with binge eating, or, you know, disordered eating, or just even dieting. It's so easy for us, because what they're doing is it's internal, inflicting internal self-harm, essentially, because something else in their life isn't working, or they can't control something else, so they try to control that. So it's kind of like, yeah, all just internalize the meaning that we're placing on things. And that's really where, like, you know, I got into my trauma work, is looking into that. Like, I just love that side of things.
The trauma work I find so interesting. How did you get into all of that? Did you have like a lot of trauma growing up, or?
It's really funny, because I actually had the best upbringing. and you know, I'm one of those people who say I don't have anything bad. I genuinely don't have anything bad. And do you know what the funny thing there is? The people who don't who have, you know, oh, my childhood was great. You can't see me, guys, on the podcast, but I'm doing like inverted commas with my fingers. Like, my childhood was great. Those people are actually the most likely to have addictions. They're the most likely to have depression, anxiety, and those types of things, suicidal thoughts even, because what's funny is, even though we had an amazing childhood and nothing, quote, bad happened, it's not that. It's not what happened to you. It's what didn't happen to you. So, for example, in my family, something really big for me was, because my dad was working all the time, and he was the best dad in the entire world. And he's the one that I seek love from, and I love him so much. And it's like, he was working to provide for us, and he was working a lot, and he's not good with expressing his emotions of how he feels. So he buys us gifts. He, you know, pays for our education, pays for our trips overseas, supports us with a roof over our head. Perfect childhood, right? But what I didn't get met was words of affirmation of expressing emotions. So that, for a child, tells that there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with me, because I'm not being told I'm loved. I'm not being told it's okay to be angry. I'm, you know, in an example, when a child's told to be when a child is angry and a parent says to them, go to your room, what's that child being taught? They're being taught that when they're angry, they have to be isolated from people and go sit in their room until they come back to, quote, normal. And it's saying that anger's not normal. So then those people will repress that inside. A lot of people with binge eating and eating disorders actually have a lot of rage inside them. And it's because they've been pushing it down. That rage turns into self-harm, which is binge eating, purging, over-exercising, becoming obsessed with your body. So it's like, trauma is not what happened to you. It is what happened to you, of course, but it's also what didn't happen to you and what you didn't receive. So it could be as simple as not being validated that you came second in the cross country. And that right there, you took, well, if I'm not the best, then, like, I'm not going to get love. I'm not going to get praise from my caregiver. So then what happens is that person turns into an overachiever, and they try to control their food and body to an absolute T to hit their macros. Do you know what I mean? So it plays out in all areas of life. And I'm just so fascinated by humans and how they work. Like, I could study it all day, every day.
Oh, literally, it's so interesting. And I'm like halfway through my NLP course at the moment, and like they're talking so much about how much it affects us from the ages of like 0 to 7. That's basically how we form our reality and how we like perceive things, and like our value. And it's just like, before that I was like, what happened before like it's 7, you don't remember that, like why is that gonna matter? But now you really understand that what you heard, or like you said, didn't hear, affects you so much as an adult.
And it even happens when you're in the womb as well. So before you're even born, if your mother is really on edge and really stressed and always, you know, like that, then you'll be born into a world where you think that's your normal. So then the rest, like, there's so many things. Like, I could go into this forever, but I did NLP as well. And it's like the imprint years kind of is that what they call it?
Oh, I can't.
It's
Honestly,
something.
the remembering
It's
names of things I suck at. I just remember the techniques for stuff.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. So the way that I like to describe it, like in my courses, or if you know, I'm actually doing a course on inner child work, and I've got this in the first week of it, is it's like children's brains are like a sponge, and everything that comes in, they're soaking it up, and they're like, what am I going to keep? What am I going to let go of? Right? What's getting me love and what's not getting me love? And then they let go of anything that's not getting them love. And then they will hold on to the rest of it for the rest of their life, because children, their brains are very plastic, which means like neuroplasticity, which means like very adaptable to learning. And as you get older, it's obviously harder to learn. It's definitely possible though, but it's not as like, a child's brain is like a freaking sponge. It will just soak in everything, even if it doesn't like, and it's all unconscious, by the way. People don't consciously go and binge eat and inflict harm on themselves. There is an underlying reason in their unconscious that doesn't feel safe where they currently are. So they will try and get away from that.
Yeah. Wow. That's so interesting.
I love it. I could talk on this all day.
Yeah, clearly. No, I think it's so interesting, and I think it's definitely something like it's been a nice change in the last few years in the fitness industry. I think that a lot of more people are more about the mindset and the underlying reasons why people overeat or binge or they don't eat, or like why you're over exercising. I feel like when we first started, it was very like all or nothing. Like if you're not in the gym, you're cheating. Like eating is cheating. Cheat meals in general was massive back then. And I guess it does still exist, definitely, but it's also like about who you're following, I guess. And it's just nice to see a lot more people are actually caring about like what actually happened to you or didn't happen. Like why are you actually acting this way? And it's not just about the food.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's not just about the food. It's actually nothing to do with the food. That's like, I have a course that's starting tonight called, which you would have seen, called More Than Fucking Food. And it's about all of this. It's about trauma, shadows, inner child work, like all the things that people aren't looking at when it comes to food and body. And it's really interesting how many coaches I've had joining. This is the second round. The first round, I had probably like 40% coaches. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. Like coaches wanting to learn how to be like better practitioners. And I just think that's incredible that, you know, it is more accessible for people to have more correct information these days. And I feel like a lot of people, even if you're not trauma informed, like actually like have studied it and have the qualification or anything, you can still be at least aware of it. And, you know, I think that's great. Like all the coaches that are coming into that course with me, it's like they're learning a new approach to things, which will hopefully then have a roll-on effect to helping their clients. And like, yeah, as you said, it's just so great that there's such a shift happening where people are really starting to realize, even if you did have a perfect childhood, you know, like that kind of stuff doesn't matter. Everyone's problems are valid and everyone's problems happen for a reason. Like it's something internal speaking to you.
Definitely. So now you're doing this course and you're also doing all the business coaching and all trauma and you're studying. What do you do to not like get overworked? Because I can imagine you'd be so busy.
Well, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm actually not that busy. I'm very much about smart business and I actually have so much free time. I think I only work maybe like 2 to 3 hours a day.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah, I'm not work harder type work, like I'm work smarter. So while I have a lot that I'm doing and it looks like I'm doing a lot, the way that my business is set up and, you know, my structure and my clients and stuff like that, like, yeah, I am very smart about it. I've set all that up. So I'm actually not that busy. And the way that I don't get overwhelmed, because obviously like, being like a trauma practitioner and things like that, it's very easy for someone's system to get overloaded when they're taking on everyone else's things and that. So that's why it's so important that, you know, I do have so much space in my day and I do, you know, have time to myself, and I set my business up in such a way that today's like a exception because I've had like 2 calls rescheduled to today, but usually I'll never have more than 2 calls a day. Like that's just, you know, my limit. I'm like, nope, 2 calls, like that's it. And yeah, I've just really set my business up in such a way that the way I'm going at the moment, I'm trying to do more group coaching because I feel like it's really great to reach more people. And then less one-to-ones, but more like long-term one-to-one mentorship. So yeah, I love my one-to-ones, but I also love group. And yeah, just the way that my business is set up, I don't really get that overwhelmed. I have a lot of space in my day.
That's so good. So when you transitioned out of the fitness kind of coaching, also a company that you're only charging $10, you would have.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's insane. How did you feel like with your clients? Was it kind of like a natural progression for them, or were you like, you know what, I'm not going to do fitness coaching anymore, you're going to have to find another coach, or like what happened there?
Well, I never actually did quote fitness. It was always just health and mindset. Like that's what I always called it, because I never actually did training or exercise at all. It was more so just like the nutrition and mindset side of things. But when I started to get away from the nutrition, it was kind of just how I shifted my marketing, and I was kind of just speaking to the people who had tried everything to do with nutrition and they knew that it was just deeper. They just knew that it was something to do with their mindset because they'd tried everything with food and that never works. So I guess like I was just really honest and transparent with the kind of coach that I was. And I was like, if you're wanting training and you're wanting me to sit there and go over your My Fitness Pal, I'm not the coach for you. You know what I mean? Like that's not where my priorities are for helping you, because I know that's not what's going to get you where you want to be. Like, so I guess like just shifting my marketing and, you know, how I spoke about my offers, I think that was probably how I did that and pivoted. But yeah, for sure, when I gave up health altogether, as in one-to-one health coaching, I turned my Ignite, which was my one-to-one, into a course. So it was like an evergreen course that people could do, and it's still on my website today. So it's like if anyone does want help from me in that area, they can just go on and buy my Ignite one-to-one program, but I made it in to a 12-week course. They still do their check-ins, they still do all the things, but I gave them everything they would need so that I never had to do that again. So that was the foundations, the brickwork for them done. And then if they ever wanted to work with me for something deeper, they just come to my one-to-one, which was mindset or whatever. So I guess like the way that I've just been really smart over the years with how I position myself and where I see the vision of my business going, because it was really scary to me to give up Ignite as one-to-one and to make it a program, because it was my baby. You know, I did it for so many years and it was my signature offer. It was what I was known for. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of like that. And it was really hard to give that up and to move into a new space, into mindset, and then obviously mindset into business. So now I mix the two of mindset and business, and like they both come hand in hand. I'm still helping business coaching clients with binge eating and food and body, which is really interesting. As I said, like it's all related. So yeah, I feel like I forget the question, but what was the question?
How you kind of transitioned out of it? What your clients thought?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I kind of just if I was to put all my if I was to project onto my audience that they couldn't come with me and they didn't need what I would need, then I wouldn't have transitioned. Like I would have been like, no, my clients need me to do this. They need me, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I'm saying that their results are solely reliant on me, which is like taking all their power away. So like changing Ignite into my course instead of the one-to-one was a very big move for me, because I had to let go of that narrative of they need me to hold their hand. And I actually had to like see them as like fully self-led humans, like, and that was really hard, but I had to trust myself that I would give them all the information they would need. And then people are doing, because it's just, you can get it on my website anytime, people are buying it and they're coming in like, Tayla, this is fucking amazing. And I'm like, see, like I had nothing to worry about. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like people are always understanding, and as a business owner, we're always going to grow and evolve. And if we don't allow ourselves to grow and evolve, we're going to resent what we're doing. So I got to a point where I didn't want to have the fitness conversation anymore about move your body, drink your water. I didn't want to be having those conversations, but I was like, but people still need that help. So if I can put that into a course, then I can move on and I can grow and evolve. So I feel like people will put people in boxes and say, well, you're a health coach, you can only stay there. And like, I just say, fuck that. And I say, I'm a human and I'm going to evolve and grow. And if I don't give myself that allowance and permission to grow, then I'm just going to stay small and I'm going to stay doing something that no longer lights me up like it used to. So yeah, I mean, I guess I just had to like do a lot of inner work to like be okay that I'll be misunderstood and some clients won't come with me and I have to start having different conversations and like things like that. So it was really scary, to be honest. But I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah, of course. No, I think it is like as a business owner, like the first project that you start, it's so hard to let go.
Yeah.
Like, even I remember when I first started, I had all the check-ins were done with like Google spreadsheets. And I remember it took in like months to make this spreadsheet, like calculating and, you know, putting all the effort into it. And then when I was like, should I move into an app? It just felt so hard to let go of that because you put so much work into something and you're like, I don't even know if this app is going to work. Like, what if the clients prefer the spreadsheets? It's like, then you just got to jump and do it. And I feel like every time I've made a decision like that, it's been scary as fuck, but it's always paid off.
Yeah, for sure. Always. And it's like just allowing yourself. I say to people in business like that come in, you know, you're going to pick one thing and it's not going to be what you're doing forever. So don't put so much pressure on what you're doing because you're always going to change. Like the course that you do now, Ignite, changed about 20 times while I was doing it as one-to-one. Like the homework tasks changed, the check-in style changed, the spreadsheets changed, the apps changed, and I kept evolving and growing, and I just allowed myself to like grow with what I needed at the time and like to better the experience for people. And I think like, you know, I know this isn't about business, but like anyone in business listening, like allow yourself to just not have it right the first time. You know what I mean? Like same with food and body. Allow yourself to not have it right the first time. Like you're going to stuff up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to, you know, even people with binge eating who are trying to, you know, give it up and X, Y, Z. It's like, it's not like you're never going to do it again. You're a human. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you're just collecting more data.
Yeah, totally. I guess, I've worked with a lot of binge eating clients as well. And a big misconception is that they think that once they sign up, they're just going to stop binge eating forever and they're going to feel good about their body and they're going to lose all the weight and they're going to just feel amazing. And it's like, well, you've been doing this for like 20 years. Like it's not just going to stop after like 2 days of conversation.
Yeah. And it's a pretty good coping mechanism, right? Because it's worked for so long. So it's like, if you give that up, that's really scary. So yeah, I totally get that. People thinking it's just going to be, oh, I've got help. Now it's gone. And
yeah, exactly.
Give yourself a bit more patience.
yeah. But I mean, it's like that with everything, right? Like we're all very impatient humans. Like we want a quick fix. That's the reason why there's still so many quick fix diets out there and shortcuts for literally everything in the world. Like buy my program, gain like 20,000 followers overnight. Like there's all this stuff out there. We all just want to do the quick fix. We like not everyone, of course, but it's just the first initial reaction is like, okay, well, like how quick can I get to the goal?
Yeah. And that was one thing when I was doing health coaching and mindset. I would literally say, if that's what you're after, again, I'm not the coach for you. Like, I will not do that for you. So I was like, you know, you've tried everything else in your life. Can we just try doing something opposite? You know, that has never worked. What if we tried this? And people are always so hesitant, but the people who do practice patience and space and giving themselves compassion are the ones who see results.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about like sticking to it and really trusting the process and really trusting the coach as well.
I was about to say that, trusting the coach as well. Yeah,
because you kind of have to be all in. You can't just be like, you can't be talking to other coaches as well and taking on their advice. Like trust the actual program, and if that doesn't work, go somewhere else, but you have to give it a full go, otherwise you're just gonna regret it and you're probably not gonna get results.
100% agree.
So with I think the business coaching is so interesting because I've only also just recently signed up with a business coach, and she's very like you, like very about the mindset and everything else. And like signing up, I was like, oh, it's just business, because that's what I've had in the past from business coaches. It was just about like creating the right content, putting like the right colors together, and like how to write in the DMs and stuff like that. And I never got anything out of it. But now, like with the mindset as well, like it's crazy how much it actually affects like what you put out there and what comes back to you. So what is the biggest thing that you see with your clients? Like what is the biggest problem that they have, I guess?
The biggest challenge that I see for clients is definitely emotional regulation in their business and nervous system regulation. I think like a lot of the work that I do, while the colors and the content, I love all that. I love course creation. I love setting up people's offers. I love back end strategy, content, brand, visibility, I freaking froth over all that. But also because I have that trauma side, I love doing shadow work and childhood trauma. And it's right, like business coaching is not just business. It is like a mixture of both. And like you can have all the right colors and blah, blah, blah. But if you feel like you're going to burn your business down every 2 seconds, or, you know, you're crying to your partner every single night because it just feels so hard. And, you know, like you're like, oh my God, that client didn't sign up, or that client's not choosing me, or that client hasn't checked in. And I feel like emotional regulation in business and emotional intelligence is like huge, and one of the biggest things that I work with people on is really learning how to not attach to sales, not make things mean something about you, viewing your business as a business, like showing up, you know, looking at your shadows, like looking at your relationship with money, your relationship with your clients, your relationship with yourself. Like it's all, yeah, like your business is you are your business. So the first thing that you should work on within your business is you. And if you work on you in your business and get a coach who can help you with both, like that's ideal. But work on you first and foremost, you will see success, because you'll know how to hold it. You'll know how to handle it. You'll know how to actually get it, rather than the people who just focus on the shiny strategy that's going to get them to 10K and they burn out. Like I did the whole burnout thing. I did sales calls. I did, you know, don't let someone off the phone until they pay. Like,
oh God, yeah, you have to have 3 no's before you can hang up the phone.
Yeah, like, so I look back now and I'm like, what the actual heck? Like now I just sell in my DMs, $1,000 packages in my DMs. Like nothing. I don't have to convince, no convincing. I have courses. People just trust me. Like they know the shit I put out is fucking good. Like, and I've spent years building that, and I see like people coming into the space thinking it's going to be an overnight thing. Yeah. And like, oh, I'm just going to start charging $5,000 straight away. And I'm like, have you built up, you know, you're like, have you done free coaching? Have you built up testimonials? Have you got confidence as a coach? Have you like built a signature offer? Like, are you just coming in expecting that this is all going to fall into your lap? Like, you know, so there's so much goes into a business that I don't think people understand. It all starts with you. It's exactly the same as helping people with food and body, to be honest, exactly the same. It all starts with you.
Yeah, for sure. So listening to you, like, it sounds like you've done a lot of work on yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot.
Because it feels like you have, like, just listening, it feels like you have it all together. You're like super switched on. You know exactly what you want, like what way you're going. Like, is there anything that you feel like you still struggle with?
100%. I still struggle. And you know, it's just like every level has a new devil. So I really like to say this, like people, you know, would look at me making multi-6 figures, like all the things, I have all these offers, I have, like, it looks so easy to me. I just show up, people buy. People don't see the years that I put into that. People don't see me having breakdowns. You know, people don't see me wanting to fucking burn it all down. But the difference between me and other people is I really know myself well enough that I don't listen to my thoughts. So although I might have moments where my ego takes over, or like I'll be like, oh, fuck this, like I want to go and get a normal job, or like whatever it is, you know, like I have those moments because I'm human, but I never, ever, ever let stories play out. So that's one thing I've always been really, really good at, is patience and being able to see something and then being able to separate truth from what's actually like not truth and what's just happening in my head. So I feel like, yes, I 100% still have doubts. One of my biggest thing is doubt. Like, it's like one of my biggest shadows. It's like, I always question myself, like, oh my God, is this going to work? Is this the thing? And I just have to come back to, I know why I'm fucking here. I know I want to make impact. I want to change people's lives. And if I stay like true to that and keep going, like it will all work out. I've never once come into business thinking that I'm owed anything or thinking that people have to sign up with me, or like I never built my business on expectation. And I think that's a big, huge difference for me because it's always been, I'm just doing the things that I fucking love. Some of them are challenging, but like I see challenges as a really fun thing. Like I'm like, fuck, this is a challenge. How can I get over it? But I feel like most people come into business expecting, I want to make this much money. And I've never had expectations. And this is one of the biggest things my coach says to me is like, you never have an expectation of what you're going to get. You just come in and just like ask your questions and like go about the things. And that's why you're so successful, is because I do the things and I keep showing up even with all the shit that's happening. Like there's so much stuff in my personal life happening and I just never let it play out. Like, you know, I will of course go into victim for 2 seconds. Like I'm a human and I'll have my moments where I'm like chucking a tantrum and then I'm like, okay, what is this telling me? Like what's coming up here? But yeah, for sure. I do, but I hired my business coach, for shadow work. Actually, I didn't hire her for business. I wanted to learn more about myself because I truly believe you can only take your clients as deep as you've taken yourself. So if I hadn't done this work on myself, I wouldn't be able to do it on my clients. And I truly believe that. Like even with binge eating, the reason I was so successful is because I had my own journey of binge eating and bulimia. And I'm not just someone sitting on the other side of the screen saying, this is going to work. I'm like, I've fucking been there. Like I know what you're feeling and I know that, you know, it feels hard right now and I know XYZ, like, but I'm going to hold you to this higher standard. Like, let's go. You know, I can meet you where you're at and have compassion for you. Like that's like one of my superpowers is, I don't know if you saw my post about this, but like duality, where I see both sides and I'm like able to know when to push and know when to pull. Like I really know a really nice balance of both. And like, again, I forget the question. When I start talking, I just like go and then I'm like, what was the question?
No, I love it. Oh, I was just curious if there's still something that you feel like you struggle with.
Of course. All right. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like when you get more, my thing is holding success. So I cock blocked myself for a very long time about like not letting myself be successful, and I stayed small. And then when I let that go, my business took off, like took off so much. And it's like now holding that level of success without sabotaging yourself. I feel like there's so much expectation on me that I'm putting on myself now. So that's really what I'm in the middle of working through, is releasing that expectation and responsibility on myself.
Wow. Yeah. So how long have you been working with your coach for then?
Since July last year.
Oh, wow. And you feel like it's really made a difference for you?
100%. Having long-term mentorship of someone who knows you, like knows me. I never once ask her about price or strategy or whatever. The only thing we ever talk about in our containers is personal. And that what has helped me with my business. And yeah, like I just feel like having a coach who, yeah, they can do the strategy and like content and business, like I love all that. But like for me, I really need to feel seen and heard and held in a container. And for me, that's what I needed. So I've done a lot of somatic work as well this year because I've done like my somatic practitioner training, and we had to do it ourselves. So they won't let you get the qualification unless you're doing the work yourself, because you can't take your clients there if you've never experienced it.
What's somatic work? Sorry.
Somatic is like trauma work, but it's like body. So it's really like feeling the emotions in your body and like letting them come up. And it's just really working with the body and like the mind connection. It's kind of like parts. Yeah. It's like, it's honestly, I didn't believe in it at first, and I have a really hard time slowing down. I'm very like in my head. So for me to get out of my head and into my body was really hard. But also that has been huge for me for what kind of coach I am. That has been huge. But yeah, I just feel like me doing my own work has been the biggest catalyst for growth within my business.
Definitely. Yeah, it sounds like you've been through a lot. And I know, like, from looking at your Instagram as well, that you have like quite a journey going through like all the eating disorders and body image issues and stuff like that. And I think it's really good that you've been so open about it as well. Have you noticed, like, do people reach out to you about that kind of stuff, or like have you had positive, negative comments from it?
Yeah, all positive. I don't think I've really had negative about that. Yeah, I would say it's pretty much all positive. If people, you know, like, people obviously want to work with me for it. So like they reach out to me for that. But yeah, I feel like it's something like once I let those problems go, which was last year that I really, really did it. My food and body issues, I mean. Once I really let them go, I also found that's when my business took off, because I was able to have more capacity for other things in life, because food and body was like literally controlling me. And I said to myself, by the time I'm 30, like, I need to stop tracking my food. And because I'd been tracking for about, I don't even know, like 7 years or something like that, which is just ridiculous. But I was so scared if I stopped tracking, I would gain all my weight back. So yeah, I finally stopped. My 30th was in December last year. So halfway through last year, I said to myself, I have to stop tracking. I have to stop tracking. So I stopped a few months beforehand, and it was honestly the best thing I've ever done. And that's where my course, More Than Fucking Food, got birthed, because I actually started to I was at that stage doing a lot of inner work, like shadow work, inner child work and stuff like that, that I just really, really went into my journey. Like, I already knew it was mindset and trauma, and I was helping other people, but it was like I focused so much on helping other people that I always put myself aside. And I was like, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And I was like, Tayla, you're being a hypocrite. Like, you know, you're helping everyone else, but you're not helping yourself, and you're just letting your shit go on and on and on. Like, even though I was tracking and I was like really healthy and everything, but I was like, I need to let tracking go, and why can't I let it go? Like, you just fucking let it go. So that was really hard for me to overcome. But that's where, yeah, my that course was born. And yeah, I just feel like once I let go of my food and body issues, like, my business took off and everything just got better, you know, when you can let those things go, because you have so much more capacity for life.
Yeah. And it's so, like, deleting MyFitnessPal is the most liberating feeling ever. I remember I was like,
it's super dysregulating for me. It's like super dysregulating. Like, I just like freak out. I'm like, panic attack. Oh my God. But yeah, definitely. And I feel like that was something huge that I, like, you know, would try to get clients to do, is like lean off tracking and like introduce days where they don't track and stuff like that. And it was always what people struggled with the most, was getting away from control. And that's a lot of people's eating issues are with control.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of people who listen to this now who are like, well, what do you mean? Like, how am I ever going to stop tracking? Like, I work a lot with clients who say that. So what would be your best advice to these people who are like, no, if I stop tracking, I'm going to gain weight. I'm not going to know what I'm eating. I can't do it. It's too scary.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I would say, without like obviously giving away like everything, would be something simple that you can like literally do this week, is either give yourself a day or a meal, one meal. Try not to track. Just see how you go with one meal. Start so freaking small that if you freak out, you can track the next meal. Then the next week, try doing 2 meals. And just notice when you're doing it, you're going to freak out. That's fine. But like, just start noticing what thoughts and meaning you're placing around things, and just start to observe your behavior from like outside of you. And really just notice what comes up in your body. Like, you know, do you feel unsafe? Do you feel like you're having a panic attack? Like, what's actually coming up for you with that? And yeah, I would just say start really small. So depending on the client, either start with a meal, start with a day, Some of my clients, I used to just get them to do one day. Other clients, I'd be like, just try the whole weekend. Other clients, I was like, okay, weekends are still a bit touch and go for you. You don't really trust yourself there. What if we built the trust by doing a Wednesday? You're still in your routine, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's try that. And I would just get them to touch base with me throughout the day of how they're feeling. And I would just get people to check in when they're doing that with their emotions, try to connect to your hunger, what thoughts are running through your head. But yeah, I would just say start really, really small and give yourself space to freak out. Like it's okay. Like freaking out. And that's right.
I love that. I love that. It's very similar to what I say to my girls as well. And I think that a lot of people are just very, very scared of feeling anything. Yep.
That's why everyone does it, because if you're controlling that, then you don't have to think about the fact that your relationship is really shit. Or that, you know, you're not fulfilled in your work or whatever it is. So you don't have to have hard conversations with people if you keep just like people pleasing and XYZ, but then the people pleasing, you're not being your true authentic self. So you're trying to stuff down your emotions and like not letting yourself be who you are, blah, blah, blah. You're going to just cover it up with food.
Yeah, for sure. And do you notice that a lot of your clients are like sad, they don't like having bad days, or like where they're feeling a bit sad and like really trying to avoid that? And what do you say to people who feel like they have a lot of like bad days and they feel like their food is just controlling them? How do you deal with those kind of clients?
Yeah, I would say, like, can you just let yourself have bad days? Like, can it just be okay that some days are going to be not as good as others, and some days are going to be good, and some days are going to be like in the middle, and like you actually don't have to feel okay all the time. You know, and could you actually just let yourself feel what you're feeling, and could that be okay? Because that's, you know, when people are like, I'm having a bad day, everything's ruined. It's like, you're a fucking human. Like, you're having a bad day, who cares? Like, you know, that's like a normal part of being a human, is you're going to have days where you're not as happy as other days. And like, why do we make that wrong? Why do we make anything wrong that we're doing? And like, that's where it all comes from, because then you go into shame and judgment, and then that's where your food issues come in. You know, so yeah, I would say, can you just let yourself have a bad day? and like, how can you actually give yourself something that day? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to have a bath? Do you need to have more discipline and actually go to the gym? You know, what do you actually need in that day?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just because, like, with social media especially, it's so easy to get stuck in that kind of mindset that everyone's always happy and everyone's feeling good all the time except for me. I'm the only one who's having bad days. Like, actually, no, like, we're all having bad days. We're all human. And sometimes it's just about like allowing yourself to feel that actual feeling, I think.
Yeah, this is what I work on with my clients in business especially, but it relates to food as well. This is emotional intelligence. Like, becoming not reactive to your emotions. Like, can you just feel the emotion, and can that be okay? Can you feel the emotion and still fucking show up on your social media anyway? Like, can you feel uncertain? Can you feel afraid? Can you feel scared? Can you feel drained? Can you feel whatever? And just not let it control you. I think that's what emotional intelligence is learning how to become responsive, not reactive.
Yeah, I love that. So obviously you built a really what do you count it as 3 businesses, or do you count it as 1 business in total?
1.
Yeah. One successful business. How long have you been coaching now?
Paid coaching, maybe, I could be so wrong, maybe 2017.
Oh wow,
I could be wrong. Or maybe that was free and maybe I started charging 2018. I don't know. It's something around there.
Something around that.
Yeah.
What is the plan for you in the future? Where do you see your company going?
Yeah, great question. I don't really plan. I don't really have visions. All I know is I fucking have a lot to say and a lot of people to help and guide. And I want to change a lot of people's lives. So whether that be me coaching coaches to be better coaches, whether that's me helping people grow their businesses, whether that's me running more courses on food, whether that's me running shadow work courses, whether that's me doing an in-person event, whether I'm on more podcasts, I don't know. I just love humans. And I just want to fucking help humans. I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. I just know that I want to have huge impact. That's all I know.
Definitely think that you will. Yeah.
Maybe
you should write a book or something.
I've thought about it, and then I have this story of I'm not good with words. But it's interesting. It's definitely something I've thought about.
Interesting. Maybe something to work on.
I know.
No, I think it's really important that us as coaches as well, that we are open about, like, I am not perfect. I still have a lot of things that I need to work on, and still, being open that you are investing in yourself and other coaches as well. Because I think a big misconception that I get a lot of times, like, oh, but you already know all this stuff. Like, why are you paying someone else to help you out? That's like, what?
And I think that's a misconception that you only get help when you're suffering. I actually don't think that's true. I get a lot of people like already making 6 figures in business that things are going fucking great for them. And they come to me to hire me because you need support. When you're scaling, when you're getting successful, even when you're starting whatever, or even food and body, it's not about when things are going wrong. It's like when things are going great, how can you elevate that? How can you actually move through that and move forward? And a lot of the times people don't actually have a fear of failure, they have a fear of success. So it's like people will always put a limit on themselves and like a glass roof or ceiling. And it's like, how do you actually smash through that and transcend that, is like actually having someone outside of you who holds you to a higher standard. And so like, that's why I hire my coach. I don't need her. I choose to have her. I don't have her because anything's going wrong. I have her to have someone in my corner, and someone who knows me, and someone who can hold me in good and bad.
No, I love that, having someone to hold you to a higher standard than yourself. That's actually, that really resonates with me. And I think
because we're conditioned to play small. That's what humans are conditioned to do. So it's like, we can't do that ourselves. We need someone to help us.
Yeah, and I think that it makes a lot of sense as well, but like why a lot of the coaching that we do is so successful, because a lot of times clients come and they have really low self-confidence and they don't think that much about themselves, and sometimes they just need like a cheerleader to be in their corner until they can be the cheerleader for themselves. Yeah,
for sure. And sometimes they need that. Sometimes they need to be, held to a higher standard, and sometimes they just need to be held to where they're at, So yeah, totally
exactly.
agree.
Everyone's so different. But yeah, it's been so nice to talk to you, and I know that you have a massive day today, so I'm definitely going to keep it to the hour.
Thank you. No, this has been great. I love, I'm very good at responder energy. So I like being asked questions and just going, as you can see.
Yeah, no, that makes for the best interviews, I think. But yeah, it's been so great to have you on, and I hope you feel a bit better soon. I know you were a little bit sick this morning.
Oh, it's just my nose. I feel completely fine. It's just my nose is running a little bit. So if I was sniffing through this, I'm so sorry.
No, you sounded completely fine. But I think there's a lot of like coaches to go listening to this podcast, a lot of like people in the fitness industry in general, and I'm sure they would love to find you. So can you are you taking on new clients at the moment? Where can they find you? Give yourself a plug.
Thanks. I'll take that opportunity. So yes, you can find me at Tayla Bubeck _ on Instagram. Basically, yes, I am taking on one-to-one clients at the moment, but not until October, November, or start of next year. But then I do have lots and lots of exciting ways to be in my world. So my business is like fucking flourishing. I have like 1,000,001 ways to work with me. I'll just plug 3 things. One of them is More Than Fucking Food, which starts tonight. So food and body, if you are into that, that's that one. The other one is my self-inquiry bundle, which I literally just launched this week, which I'm so excited about. It's like 3 courses in the bundle. There's inner child work, ego work, and shadow work. So that's going to be over the next 6 months, starting in November. Like that's when the first one starts. So if you want to get in on that, it's like you're saving over $3,000 by like getting them all in the bundle, which is insane. So there's that, the self-inquiry bundle. Or The other way to be in my, there's lots of other things which I could say, but just come to my page, you'll find them. The other one is my inner circle, which is like a year-long membership, and you get everything in my world for the whole year. Anything I'm offering, any offers, any courses, any masterclasses, that's really exciting. Plus you get everything I've previously done. So like you get more than fucking food. You get like all the courses, you get the self-inquiry bundle, all that. So there is the inner circle as well, which is exciting. So I'll leave it there.
Wow. So many things.
Yeah, I have like business courses and that coming up, and I have so many things, but I won't go.
Basically, if you're interested in working with Tayla, just go to her freaking page and choose which option choose is the best for you.
Yeah, DM me and be like, bitch, I don't know what I want, but tell me.
Help me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I definitely learned a lot, and there's a lot of things I feel like I want to dive deeper into after listening to this, or having this conversation with you. But guys, if you like this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, you tag myself, you tag Tayla, and you tag Women's Fitness Academy. We love to connect with you, and we love to hear what you thought about the podcast, and if you learned something new. So please do that, and have a wonderful day.